If you have a husband or wife and they cheat on you, the person they cheat on you with, you can sue them. A month ago, I was just going for a random cycle at night and I did get stopped by a policeman. You can be fined up to £70,000. As soon as he stopped me, I was like, shit. Hello guys and welcome back to my Curious About Japan series, in which I'm googling all the stuff about Japan I've been curious about for a long time, but just like too lazy to actually go and research. If there's anything that you want me to research in my next batch of videos for this series, be sure to comment below. So this week I wanted to research some unique and strange laws or legal things within Japan. And I'm sure there's laws in every country which are just super outdated and never enforced because they're ridiculous. But I was curious about Japan specifically because, you know, Japanese people, they love a good set of rules. They love to follow those rules, no exceptions, bitch. Let's get into that. So the first law is so random. The punishment is quite harsh, I think, for it. But you are not allowed to bring or use walkie-talkies from outside of Japan. And like, I mean, I don't know how often this is enforced, but imagine if you didn't know that. Because I certainly wouldn't have thought to know that. Like, my god. But it does actually make sense when you look into it a bit further. And the reason is because Japan relies so heavily on radio networks. Which honestly is unsurprising because technologically, Japan still uses a lot of old tech. A lot. I.e. fax machines. But yeah, the punishment for this crime is up to 1 year in jail or about £7,500. So yeah, if you thought about bringing walkie-talkies on your holiday, which I'm sure we all do, think again. It is illegal to make clones in Japan. And I just thought, is that like a thing in other places? And I think there's some other countries that have that law, but it's not like common. Like, who's out here making clones anyway, you know? But I think it is just the law exists as more of a deterrent than anything else to stop people from going down that route of research for moral reasons. If you are found to have been working on cloning, you can be fined up to £70,000 or like 10 years in jail. I don't got that kind of money to spend, so I ain't gonna be touching the cloning game. Not that I had plans to, but like now I definitely won't, you know, at least not in Japan. We'll see when I go back to Scotland. I'll have a bit of a career change. Okay, this next law is my favorite. You'd think I'd save the best for last, but I want to talk about it now. I'm so excited. I love this law. If a driver splashes a pedestrian with rainwater, they will be fined, or they can be fined. And like, we need this law in Scotland. Oh my god, I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me in Scotland. Has it ever happened to me in Japan? You best believe it hasn't. You can be fined up to £40, roughly. I think it literally just goes back to how polite Japanese people love to be, and yeah, it's hella rude to splash someone. Take note, Scottish drivers, because it rains a lot in Scotland. So this next one surprised me, and that was that Japanese people need to inform the government or get permission beforehand if they want to travel to Antarctica. It's not just Japan, there are a number of countries involved in this, not all of them though. And there was some treaty which was signed about Antarctica, and it's basically just to do with environmental protection. Japan did sign the treaty in 1991, and if you go there without going through the proper channels, then you can be fined up to about £3,500, which is a lot. So this next law might seem a bit like, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it's a fairly new law. It came into place in 2018, and that is that it is illegal to force people to drink alcohol. And it seems kind of wild because when I hear that, I picture like someone holding someone down and forcing alcohol down their throat. But that's not really what it's about. Because within the work culture in Japan, there's a lot of drinking events with companies, nomikais, where you go out drinking and have a good time and stuff. But basically, it's a preventative measure, this law, to stop kind of workplace power harassment, because there's a lot of peer pressure to drink and encouragement to drink and stuff, and maybe not everyone wants to. So on a less funny note, this law, actually, I think it's a really good idea that it's in place, and I'm glad that, you know, Japan's thinking about things like that and taking some kind of action. I mean, I don't know how often it'd be enforced. I feel like a lot of the times if there's peer pressure and someone is susceptible to peer pressure, they're probably not the kind of person who's going to report anything like that either. I mean, I don't really know what other measures are in place or things like that. But I mean, I've never been in a situation where I feel pressure to drink. But also, I'm Scottish, so like, I just like to drink, you know. There is a civil law that you can sue your partner's lover if they are cheating on you for emotional damages. Like if you have a husband or wife and they cheat on you, the person they cheat on you with, you can sue them. Emotional damages. Get that money. And cheating is pretty common in Japan. I don't know how common it is to actually take legal action in that instance. You know what to do if that happens to you. Foreigners can be stopped at any time by police and asked to show their ID cards or passports or something like that. And if you don't have it on you, you can be arrested. And actually, maybe like a month ago, I was just going for a random cycle at night, and I didn't bring anything with me in my bag, my wallet or anything, because I was like, oh, just going for a quick cycle. And I did get stopped by a policeman. He was like checking the serial number of my bike and stuff, because you have to register every bike you buy, checking my name to make sure it was my bike and not a stolen bike. And he asked me for my ID card, and I knew he was going to as soon as he stopped me, and I was like, shit. But I don't know how strictly this is enforced, because I just did my best attempt at bad Japanese, like, oh, forgot sauce, it's at home, yo. And he was pretty chill about it. He was like, okay, just go home now, though, he said, or something like that. And I was like, I mean, yeah, that's where I'm going. Okay, bye. And finally, to finish this video, is not a strange law, but the strange lack of a law. And that is that it is not yet legal to get married in Japan if you are a same-sex couple. It's weird, isn't it? So strange. This is the weirdest point I've made thus far. In 2020. Come on, Japan. We're not about this anymore. Although actually a lot of recent surveys has shown significant public support for it. And I think in the description below, I'm gonna link a little online petition you can just make a couple clicks for and sign. It's gonna be super easy, I promise, so please just do that, please, for me. Did any of these laws in particular really surprise you? Comment it below. Next week, I'm gonna be talking about a really strange festival which involves forcing babies to cry. I will leave it at that, so be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.